A day after his fiery speech to Congress, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is going to meet with President Biden this afternoon, about 45 minutes from now. Then the President and the Prime Minister will hold an unprecedented meeting with the families of Americans still being held hostage. Among those in the meeting will be Aviva Siegel, who knows all too well the horror that these hostages have been enduring for 9 months. She and her husband were kidnapped on October 7th from a kibbutz in southern Israel. Aviva was released in November after 51 days in captivity as part of a temporary ceasefire deal. That was the last deal. But her husband, 65-year-old Keith, he's just celebrated another birthday in May. He's an American from North Carolina. He's still being held. And Aviva Siegel joins me now. And Aviva, we've talked before here and in Tel Aviv, and it's so good to see you. So what do you want to say to Prime Minister Netanyahu this afternoon?
I want to ask him why is he here in the States? He needs to be in Israel. There's a deal to be signed, and he needs to sign the deal. He shouldn't be here while his country is in such a disaster and needs him.
Well, what did you think of the speech? I know you didn't go, correct?
I didn't go to the speech, and to tell you the truth, it breaks my heart every time to hear that he wants to win. And, I want to tell everybody that Keith is with Hamas. So if he wants to win Hamas and kill Hamas, that means he will kill Keith too, because Keith is with them.
You want him to stop. You don't want him to finish and get the leaders.
I'm against killing. I'm against wars. The only thing that should be in life should be love.
What more do you think the United States can do? Because President Biden is going to be in this meeting.
I want to say that if Bibi Netanyahu does not bring Keith home and more than 100 hostages home, I want to ask Biden to bring Keith home. Keith is an American. His mom is 97. She's still alive. She does not know that Keith is in captivity. But Keith does know that he wants to come home and give her a hug. He's waiting for that. He said that's the first thing he wants to do, to come to America and to hug his mom. So I want to ask Biden, if Bibi is not able to do that, Biden should bring the Americans home.
You're talking about an American rescue mission. You're talking about it would have to be a military operation, an American rescue operation in Gaza.
I don't want anybody to be killed, but I know that Keith is in such danger. The video that was released that I could not see because I could not see the sadness in his eyes. I've been told that he said that he heard the bombs, just like I did. And I used to pray all the time, just don't let the ceiling fall on me this time. And just please God, if something happens, let me die before Keith. I am so worried about Keith, and I'm so worried about more than 100 hostages. I know the conditions. It's so cruel what they're going through.
What Netanyahu would say is that Hamas started this war. They massacred more than 1,200 people, Israelis. But you would let them stay in their tunnels, Sinwar, the leader, and find another solution, have a new government that you could try to create, that Secretary Blinken is trying to create.
I do not want to talk about anything that's politics. I want to talk about human. Keith is human. He's got a heart, and it's cruel what he's going through. He's thrown in a corner on a mattress, just like a rug. He needs to get out of there, and all the 100 hostages that are there in those conditions. We just heard about 4 of them that came out, and one of them just said that he was tied up, his legs, with chains for months. And we weren't treated like people. I was there. I saw it. I saw the way they acted and treated us.
There's a lot of concern about the women. You've talked about the way the young women were treated, the assaults.
I want everybody just to imagine any girl that's a young girl that's never been touched. She's lying on a mattress on the floor and just praying, please, just that he won't tell me to come this time and do what he did yesterday. And that's what's happening there. But I want to tell you that the girls are touched, but Keith is threatened in such a brutal way. They didn't behave, even though we behaved and we did everything we were told. We were so good, and they were so bad to us. I used to say to myself, how come? How come? How come they're so bad, the terrorists, the Hamas people? I don't understand. And I don't understand how Keith is still there for 293 days, thrown on a mattress. Because it's so cruel. It's just too cruel to be underneath the ground, not even having air, not even knowing if you're going to live or if you'll ever come back to Israel. Because that's what happened to me. I used to lose my hope there and just want to die. Because we went through bad things and then worse things and then worse things. And I'm very worried. I'm very, very worried. I do not want Keith to come back dead. And I want all the hostages to come back as soon as possible, because we hear about more and more of them that are killed.
Aviva Siegel, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
I honor your resilience.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We need to get them back.
Thank you for expressing it.
And I want good for the whole world and for the Gaza people that are good. Everybody needs to live and be happy.